As you well know, I am Chad Reynolds, and that guy right there is Big Bad Brian Loans, and we are live here for Power Shift on whatever the hell date this is. This is the 18th, I believe. Yes. The 18th of July. You said that it was hot there today. Brian is in Epping, New Hampshire at New England Dragway for a divisional race this weekend. Otherwise, for all of you real drag racers, they are not called divisionals. They are points meets. Because that's what we used to call them back in the day. So they will always be a points meet to me.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. You're exactly the same way, which is funny. But now they call them divisionals. You're Division 1, right?
Yes, we are. The land of NED, yes.
Yes, and we are Division 7 here on the West Coast.
And how hot is it back there?
Yeah, you said it was almost 100 there today, right?
Yeah, pushing like 100 degrees, super humid, and today was just a test day, so we were supposed to run till 8 o'clock tonight, but some really heavy-duty thunderstorms came in right around 5, and they called it a day at that point because it came down good. They weren't going to get it dry in time.
Is it going to run tomorrow morning, though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, qualifying starts tomorrow morning, and the place is full. It's like a super crowd. I think we're going to have 12 to 15 top alcohol dragsters and about as many alcohol funny cars. So it's going to be good. A ton of the teams made runs today, and it's going to be like a crazy weekend as far as tuning and stuff goes, because tomorrow is going to be worse than today was with the heat. And then Saturday is supposed to be like kind of crappy with thunderstorms and stuff. And then Sunday is going to be like 70 degrees. So there's going to be no hope of dialing a car or getting a clutch tune up right. It's just going to be a total crapshoot.
Wow. Well, the one good thing about that, though, is that...
we're not there.
Well, yeah, that we're not there. But the other thing that's really good about that is the fact that, the track is still relatively, anyway, it's relatively national event prepped, so to speak, because you guys had the national event there not long ago. So that's a good thing for your guys, no question, because they get to run on a track that is probably the best they've ever seen New England Dragway for a points meet, right?
Yeah, I mean, last year was really good. I mean, we had a bunch of reset a bunch of track records and stuff last year, and when the track temperature gets to 150 degrees, it doesn't matter really. Who you are, it's going to be a little bit tricky. And the alcohol cars that ran today, people got down. I mean, there were several sub 1 second 60-foot times, but alcohol cars will go into the 8, 10, 60-foot area. Nobody got there today. It was a lot of 980s, 990s, so everyone was real soft coming out, and people made some pretty decent charges up top. I think the best run we had today was it was a 554 at like 250 and change out of an injected nitro car. So not any slouch runs, but nothing that was super spectacular.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I always you always love the national events, but like this weekend is a points meet here also in Northern California at Sears Point. And I really wanted to go, especially because the West Coast Outlaw Pro Mods are actually running at the divisional race this weekend. Renneria Brothers are going to show up for first time with their new carbon fiber front end on that car, and testing should be really good on that bad boy. So I really want to go to Sonoma, but I don't think the money is there, so we're probably not going to make it. But the points races are always cool because there's a lot more stock and super stock cars than you see at a national event.
Exactly.
You get a lot of stock eliminator guys and super stock guys that only run at divisionals, and so they only run 1 or 2 races a year maybe, and then they bracket race the rest of the time. So they don't get enough competition points to be able to go to a national event. But you know what? Those are the door cars that we grew up watching run, and that's awesome. Wheel standing fun, 9.5 or 9-inch or to 14-inch tire cars, and that's fun.
Well, what's funny is what's cool, this race, we got Nitro Harleys here. There's 8 of them, and there will be 8 of them. There were several testing today. One of the guys licensing is a guy from New York, and his name escapes me right now, but he's a real deal Hells Angels guy to the point where his leathers are just black leathers, and on the back are the actual Hells Angels patches sewn into them.
Oh,
and
they're the first.
I was like, whoa, that's kind of rare. And then someone in the tower said, I wonder if he's a real Hells Angel. And I said, dude, you don't put those patches on yourself if you are not a real Hells Angel. Because
No.
there's some bad shit. There is some real bad shit that will happen to you if they find out you're not legit and you have those patches. So he's real deal.
Oh yeah. We happen to know some HAs, and as Crosby will attest, because he knows a lot of them a lot better than I do, they aren't even referred to as the Hells Angels when you know them. They're just HAs, right? I mean, that's it. So and
Or 81.
yeah, or 81, right? And if you dude, there is no way in hell I would ever wear something with the Hells Angels logo on it and go out in public, because they will instantly know and kill you. I mean, that's just how it goes down.
As I mentioned when the guy made his run today, I said he was a member of a very popular motorcycling club.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so distracted because Jay, who's over here, we have our normal peanut gallery, okay? So, Jay has sent me a picture that I'm going to attempt to show you on the screen, which is a little bitty pontoons that have been attached to a picnic table with a trolling motor, a cooler, and an umbrella, and I am so all over owning this. You have no idea, dude. Check that.
I've seen the photo. You're referencing it. It is totally awesome.
Oh my God. It's the greatest. And it totally looks like one of the Duck Dynasty guys is riding on it. I have to say, speaking of which, God, there's so much to talk about this week, but one of the first things I need to ask is, A, what are you drinking?
Honestly, at that night I'm just drinking a large Coca-Cola from McDonald's.
Oh, that sucks. I am drinking a Diet Cola with Jim Beam in it. And whoever the bartender was, oh wait, that was this guy, put a lot of Jim Beam in it.
So in other words, he's got Jim Beam with a little bit of Diet Cola in it.
Yeah, exactly. When I took my first drink of it, I went, oh my God! And I looked at Crosby like, what have you done? And he went, I didn't make it! It was awesome. So anyway, everybody says that the Duck Dynasty is like the greatest show ever, right? I have not gotten it. I watched a bunch of 5 minutes at a time of stuff and thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And everybody says, just watch an episode, you will learn to love this, and you will want to grow your beard bigger. They are absolutely right. They are the stupidest, weirdest, freakiest idiots, but they're such good-hearted guys. They don't do anything bad for the sake of doing anything bad. They don't do anything stupid just to look stupid. They're just weird. And I love them dearly now, and I totally want to be the long-lost cousin, dude. I'm moving to Monroe, Louisiana. I mean, it's...
I'm currently on a 33-year hot streak of not seeing that show, so maybe I should watch an episode. Not that I have anything against it, I haven't seen it, but everybody, like you said, everybody raves about it.
Dude, it is so stupid, it defies description. When I say stupid, they're clearly not idiots, they just are weird, but there is no great, oh my God, I got this from it, or any of that shit. It's just funny. And if you don't, and we've decided that we're in our house that we're going to start saying Jack a lot, and all of you that are on there, yeah, you got that right, Jack! Dude, Neil Sabo is on in the chat window, and he says, you got that right, Jack. Dude, Cy says Jack all the time. He's like, whatever are you talking about, Jack? And so, we've totally started with the Jack. Last night I was actually laying in bed, watching Duck Dynasty. Daphne is mad at me because it's 11 o'clock at night and I've been working since 6 a.m. So she's all pissy and I get in bed and we're watching Duck Dynasty and we start laughing, so she starts liking me again. And I start yelling down the hallway to Peyton, who's watching TV, what are you doing in there, Jack? And she starts laughing and laughs for a good 10 minutes. I mean, it's so stupid. And then she turned it on and started watching it. Yes. And for those of you that aren't in the know, turpentine is the single greatest cleaning thing. I learned it on Duck Dynasty, dude.
So she's got
there you go.
Jack and Honky?
Yes. Peyton is now Jack and Honky. She is both. Oh my God. Yeah, so Uncle Si is a badass, dude. And I think I'm growing all the beard going in, dude. Jay and we're just going to sneak in. Be like, doo-doo-doo. I need some camo. I don't own anything camo.
Take one trip to Bass Pro Shops and fix all that.
And Bass Pro Shops is having a big summer sale right now, dude. I just got the email. Oh, this is awesome. It's on.
Make it happen. The planets have a line, so you just own it and make it happen. I know you will.
Oh, yeah, God. Oh, I want to welcome Mike343, who says he's never checked in on PowerShift. Mike, this is just like normal, which means that we've gone completely off the rails and are talking about nothing that we plan to. But we will get there, I promise. But I guarantee that it's already 6:15. We're going late today. We had awesome stuff this week on the site. I have to say. It was a really good week of content. We had a ton of photo coverage, and I got to thank Justin Oney and Brian Wagner for shooting the living shit out of Columbus. Good guys.
They handled it, man. They did a great
job.
Oh
my God! And I got to tell you, if Justin's listening, Justin got a new camera, which pissed me off because he sent a bunch of pictures, and some of them were in RAW format, which means they're the size of a bus.
Yeah,
and Photoshop gets all pissed off because you have to import those specifically and all this crap. So it took me over 2 hours to do the gallery that went up today, okay? So, just so you know that. And oh, dude, it sucked. That's way too long. So anyway, so I write an email to Justin and go, dude, I love you and your photos are rad, but dude, you're killing me. And he apologized up and down because he got a brand new camera and didn't know that he had it set wrong, okay? But he gets all self-conscious on me, and he's like, well, dude, what do you think of my photos and all this stuff? And I'm talking to him, telling him, dude, these are awesome. And finally I got the point across to him because I showed Daphne a bunch of the photos, and he did a bunch of engine photos. And I told Daphne, come look at these. I actually asked Justin if I can print these and hang them on the walls in my house, okay? They're that cool. So Justin, the camera is doing good, and your eye, as always, is great. So big thanks to all of our contributors because, man, we've been photo-centric. Dude, Grippo showing up again. Dude, the York 30.
I got to go to that thing next year, man. That's a crazy. And actually, we get another gallery of his show photos tomorrow, and then I have all the drag strip photos he shot because that's a two-part deal. They have the show, and then the next day they have the drag race at Beaver Springs. So I got a whole bunch of cool drag strip photos as well.
Oh, I know. It's badass. And man, I kind of hate to start with this, but I think we need to. We lost an unbelievable human being a week ago, almost a week ago. Actually, in Loring, Maine. Unbelievably badass motorcycle racer. 311 miles an hour, is that correct, Brian?
Yeah, that's the record he set on the mile and a half in 2011. Yeah, 311 miles an hour.
In a mile and a half, he went 311 miles an hour on a sit-down motorcycle. Crosby's looking at me like, you're insane. Bill Warner, he was the first man to go over 300 miles an hour. He died last Sunday in Loring, Maine, where he set that record. Our understanding is that the bike was having trouble with doing some wheel stands and stuff at 270.
Yeah, 280, 285. It was picking the front end up. And what he was trying to do there, he was actually trying to go 300 in a mile instead of. He was running down, and his goal was to go 300 miles an hour in the mile as opposed to the mile and a half.
That place got some bite.
And he almost got there. His fastest walk to run was 296 before he crashed.
And he passed away on the way to the hospital. I've met Bill. Super nice man. I didn't know him well, but super nice man. I've always said that the guys that drive the Nitro Harleys, they carry their balls around in a wheelbarrow in front of them, and they're made out of stainless steel. Bill Warner actually carried his motorcycle in the bed of his pickup truck, but he had an enclosed trailer to carry his testicles. Because there is no human being who has ever been alive that had bigger balls than that guy. And Brian got to know him well, was working on a new event that Bill was going to do and Brian was going to announce for. Awesome human being, super nice guy. Have never heard a bad word from him or about him. And as Keith Turk is super fond of saying, this guy was magical in a whole lot of ways. And you got to spend some pretty significant time with him.
Yeah, I did. I met Bill. I met him for the first time at the first Wilmington meet this year, and since that point, I've talked to him a lot, and I've seen him at all the Wilmington races. And like you said, Bill was the guy that's one of the main guys behind the Houston Mile, which they're scheduled. I don't know if it's still going to happen or not. I assume it is going to happen, but Houston Mile race is going to go down in October, and he had asked me to come down and announce it. And I was planning on doing that, and we had a bunch of conversations about the event, just talking about different things and cool things that he was wanting to try and everything else. And I had no real conception. I understood what land speed racing was before I started going to Wilmington this year with some regularity, but I had no real conception about what it really was. Once you get there and you start paying real close attention to it and actually watching what's happening and kind of analyzing things. And my announcing post at Wilmington is at the finish line. They have a 2-story trailer there, and the top story of the trailer, it's all closed. It's a really nice piece, but the top, there's a second floor on it and that has windows in it, and that was kind of my announcing deck and race control and stuff. And, watching what's going on, whether it's a car or a motorcycle or whatever it is, just watching what's happening as those things come by you at 220, 230, 240 miles an hour is unbelievable. And I've had this conversation with a bunch of people over the last week since Bill died, but it's like, land speed racing is, to me, as far as an announcer goes, the most terrifying announcing thing going. And,
oh yeah.
And it came. This of course came like a week after, on the heels of Donna Timney going off the end of the course at Wilmington and scaring the hell out of us. She had some type of a throttling issue where the bike just would not slow down. And I was talking to people this morning, and they were asking me about Bill and everything else, and I was telling them this kind of same thing, and they said, well, why? And I pointed to the end of the drag strip, and I said, because down there's a sand trap, and there's a big catch fence, and there's netting, and there's basically everything you could conceive of that would help stop something that's going very quickly. Also, there's walls on a drag strip, and
yeah, they corral you.
Yeah, and you take the walls away, and you take that sand trap and stuff out of there, and you start to apply some logic to the situation. You go, I'm starting from one point, and at the end of this point is the end of this point. Like, there's nothing there to really help me if I get into some really significant trouble. And, no, I don't know exactly why Bill's bike veered off course, but what ended up happening with Bill is the bike actually, and the luring runway is a mess. I mean, it is incredibly long. It's like a 3-mile long runway, and it's very wide. It's a couple hundred feet wide. It is the longest and widest runways outside of where they used to land the space shuttles, I believe, in North America. So they used to fly these fully laden B-52s full of nuclear weapons out of there. So this thing was huge. But anyway, Bill got all the way off the runway and actually contacted one of the giant those numerical signs you see on the side of the runway that count down from whatever it is, 5 to 1, so pilots have a reference point of when they're taking off or landing.
Right.
And that's actually what he hit.
Oh.
And he actually hit one of those signs, and, from people that were there, apparently, according to some accident investigation and stuff that's been done, he physically flew in the air several hundred feet before he actually landed on the ground after hitting that sign. So it's really sad. Chad and I do a lot of racing stuff and have been around racing pretty heavy duty for most of our lives, and we've all known people that have passed away. But for whatever reason, this one for me hit a lot harder than most anything else. Just to, like Chad said, just to reiterate, he was a super guy, just very humble, very interested in what everybody else was doing, very interested in putting on a good event in Houston, and it just is a very strange thing to have been talking to somebody and even emailing them with just a couple of days before, and then just poof, kind of the end. So Bill Warner, not much more to say, but he just was a hell of a guy, and he went places on a motorcycle that no other human being on earth has ever been, and I don't know if anybody else will get there. I mean, there's a guy named Guy Caputo who's building a motorcycle right now that is basically built to do exactly what Bill did and maybe do it even a little better, and I know Guy has not been deterred by what happened to Bill. He's a racer, and he's going to do it. So, he's going to give it a shot to try to break that 300-mile-an-hour barrier as well. But You know, the forces involved, and you know this, Chad. I mean, Christ, you went backwards at 240 miles an hour. I mean, the forces that are being impressed on a vehicle at those speeds, it is until you actually see it in person and watch what's happening.
You have no idea.
To verbalize it.
No, and that's what I was going to say is, you know, I've told the story of me spinning, and I have the spin sticker in my office. And when you spin at Maxton or now Wilmington or Loring or El Mirage, Bonneville, any land speed event, you get a spin sticker, and they throw a spin sticker on the windshield of the car, and they fill it out with what mile an hour you were going at and what's required. They check a couple of boxes at Bonneville, and the car has to go through a full inspection to make sure everything's cool before it goes back out on track. And you know, my spin sticker says 234, and that's the fastest I've ever been in my life. I've been over 225 of a mile in a drag car, and when I went 202, my first over 200 mile an hour run on the salt, I thought, this is the stupidest thing any human being can do. Yes! Because you're going 200 miles an hour for miles. It's dumb. But it's awesome. And one of the things that's really interesting about land speed racing, and the people that do it understand. And Brian's never been to Bonneville, and he's going to get to this year, and I'm really excited about that. Not only because we're going to, it's cool that he gets to come, and he's going to, you know, he's going to be a Bonneville virgin and all that. But seeing some of the way that people do things is unbelievably cool. The Cooks, you know, Mike and Mikey Jr., awesome friends of mine, great people. You know, Wayne Jessel, all of those guys, and the seriousness with which they do this is different than other racing. And I say that because the guys that race land speed, and this is, you know, Keith Turk and again the Cooks and everybody that's done this, Poteet and Maine, all of them, there's a different sense of seriousness when it's time to get a guy in the car. And that's because this is dangerous. It's not dangerous like drag racing dangerous. It's scary dangerous. And, you know, when I spun the car, Daphne wasn't with me, and I called her. If you listen to Brett Vocal, I was smoking 4 cigarettes at a time, talking on the phone a million miles an hour because I was one amped up son of a bitch. But I called Daphne and I said, look, I spun the car, but everything's cool. And she immediately started crying because, you know, I'm honest with her, and I told her beforehand, if this car spins over 200 miles an hour, it flies and it slams onto the roof, and I'm going to die in this car. I mean, that's what will happen in this car. So she needed to be all cool with this and on board with this beforehand. And so when I told her I was doing 234, or I spun the car, she said, how fast? And I said 234, and she lost it. Now, we didn't have the spoiler on the car and a couple other things, but nonetheless, I can tell you with I know every grain of salt that was rubbing on the backside of that air dam when that car was backwards and trying to fly. And it didn't.
Bummed out. She wasted all that money on life insurance.
yeah. Crosby said she was just pissed because she wasted money on life insurance. Exactly. But I'm telling you, it's one of those deals where you know this could be bad. And you talk about, you know, Bill hitting the sign. Dude, at Bonneville, I mean, I didn't hit one, but I was this close. If that Camaro had a mirror on the side, dude, I'd have hit the 4-mile marker. But they're only PVC pipe and a tarp that's orange with a number on it. But they're big-ass tarps, and they look like they're this big till you get right next to one. And, I mean, Fogey in the BMR Roadster, dude, he has run over a bunch of those on his way to a record. Because the thing is, you don't need to be on the course. All you have to do is go through the 1 mile and then through whatever mile it is you need to set the record. Any of the rest of the course is optional.
That's just reference points.
They are. They're just like, hey, if you could kind of stay in between here. But at these kind of speeds, you don't drive the car. That's the misnomer. You let the car do what it wants to do, and you kind of hang on. Okay? And you just sort of guide it. You suggest that it goes this way instead of that way.
You gotta be on a bike out there.
Oh, there's no way. Crosby's been, how fast have you been on the motorcycle? 150 on the motorcycle. And there ain't no way. Oh, we lost Brian. Hold on. Brian's on the, Brian's got the dial-up connection going. We're ringing him back. But anyway, land speed racing is incredibly crazy. Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
Land speed racing is incredibly crazy. It can be incredibly dangerous. There are, Keith Turk and David Freiberger lost a very good friend of theirs several years ago when he was in a crash at Bonneville. He died. Freiberger was the next car to run. They didn't tell David that he had died, obviously, until after the run because they didn't want to shake him up. But because of that, the containment seats that are now required, the containment parts that are required with the roll cage at Bonneville, all of those things are additions that have happened. And a lot of that is because of Mike Cook Jr. and Sr., Senior and Junior more specifically, but they are in charge of all accident investigation and all of those things, and they are great people, and they're very serious about this, and they really, really pay attention to what kind of injuries were sustained, even if they're minor. What can we do? What kind of damages to the car? What do we need to do in order to make this safer? Because it's not that the speeds are crazier than a lot of other things, although they are in some cases. The biggest thing is you take a Camaro, like the Turk and Freiberger's Camaro. That thing's been 261 mile an hour. It's a 79 Camaro, 79, 80 Camaro, whatever. In drag car trim, that car would weigh 3,500 pounds and be a big fat pig. It weighs 4,800 pounds and is considered a lightweight here at Bonneville. Okay? I mean, we know guys that have 6,000 pound muscle cars. So when you take one and you're running 250 miles an hour and then it does something wrong, it takes a long time for it to stop doing something wrong. So that's where it gets weird. And, you talked about how different it is than drag racing. One of the crazy things was like Daphne showed up. What are you laughing at? Peyton's laughing for some reason. Daphne, when I took her to El Mirage the first time, I said, okay, here we go. We were on duty. We had we were a course worker.
Okay.
Have the CB going, and it says, car number 369 at the starting line, getting ready to go. Buck and all them, they're giving the radio deal. He's getting ready to leave. Well, it's 1.3 miles at El Mirage. This car fires up. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's full song, 1.3 miles, and Daphne's eyes were as big as saucers. She's like, oh my God, because drag racing, we never hear a car at full throttle for that long.
Exactly.
And wait until you get to Bonneville, my friend, dude. When you hear one at full song for 5 miles.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh, dude. Or 7 when it's a streamliner, you're going to be completely blown away. It is, Keith Turk uses the term magical way too often in a lot of ways. At Bonneville, he's absolutely right. It is.
I was at Maxton. I was
but we'll move on to the next point. But like you said, the one thing that I have gained an appreciation for is just how dangerous it is. Yeah, it is incredibly dangerous.
Oh yeah. Well, and Crosby raced at Maxton, right? Mm-hmm. How fast could you go there?
I was a 0.5 mile an hour off my 150 license.
Oh, 149.5?
And Keith wouldn't give it to me.
Nope. He won't.
Got to do it.
Nope, got to run the 150. He is a stickler, I'll tell you.
And that guy from Richard Childress Racing came out on that Busa that he rides to work. If the weather is permitting, 4 days a week he rides this thing. First pass I see him go down there, stock length, stock tire, Hayabusa with a turbo on it, goes 231. By the end of the day, went 252.
Oh my God.
He rode it to work that week.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. God. Crazy. Okay, so on to bigger and badder things as well. We, let's see. Haddock's Car Show. Got to give it to Cool Newell, one of our OG bang shifters, who puts on an awesome show every year, and we appreciate that. Also have to laugh at Brian, who actually put up the bang shift question of the day Am I the only one who hates wrenching on his wife's daily driver? Clearly, duh. Everybody hates that. I don't care what it is. You know what the truth of the matter is? I've determined that if it was a 69 Camaro, you'd still hate working on it because it's hers. And if it has a rattle, you own it, all that shit. So,
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
Not-
hers. Because it's
not yours. Yes, that's it. Exactly. Oh, wait, what was I going? Oh, the Craigslist ad, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Not good.
The pink Craigslist Nova?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Dude.
brutal.
Epically horrible. Okay? This thing was one of those eBay, or one of those Craigslist ads.
Oh
This
I gotta
dude...
get my glasses. That one.
Oh yeah, this dude says that this thing, which I'm putting over Brian's face, he says the badass part is the guy is so illiterate that he can't actually say no low ballers. So instead the ad says no ballers. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm a baller. I can't buy that.
Have mud flaps on it?
I don't think that's a mud flap. I think it's actually a drip pan
What the hell is
that's
that?
laying on the ground. I believe that's the exhaust sticking out. Yes.
Oh, Brett Vogel will love that.
Oh, it's horrific. It really is. I have to say, and it made me laugh. And I'm sorry. And I know that some people go, "Oh my God, you can't make fun of people," but I know me, and I'm pretty good at it. So that's a good one. I do have to give up. This is one of my ones that I liked, and I was surprised we didn't get more comments on it, especially because this video got watched like 8 billion times across the web this week. Was the Autocross marriage proposal?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a neat little feel-good video there. And her reaction to it was great. I mean, the whole thing was cool.
It was.
Who's that?
I don't know. It's just some dude in New Hampshire. Oh, I do have to say, or in Massachusetts. I do have to say, out of that, I was really nice. I know the autocross course that you ran on up there,
Yeah.
and that was a real course. The one he's running on, dude, vagina autocross course. Like, those SCCA dudes should be really happy that none of the boys we run with at the autocross are up there. Because, like, I know dudes in Camaros that run on 6 cylinders that would come up there and go, yeah, check mark, owning your ass. I mean, dude, that's like the easy. I've driven through parking lots at the grocery store that are more challenging than that. I know, I live in SoCal, big boy. Dude, I went through traffic in a motorhome with no brakes today that was worse than that shit. I'm not kidding you. Wait till you hear the motorhome story. It's badass. Oh, you're going to hear it on Monday. It'll be good. So anyway, yeah, that was crazy. And then over the weekend, though, I have to mention, I ran these 5 videos over the weekend that were the Auto Mechanics 1936 videos. And I know you watched all of those, Brian. And Jay says I watched them and loved them. Dude, if you missed those from last Saturday, seriously, you have to go watch these. They are... Dude, you will be blown away about how badass a video Chevrolet put together in 1936, because these things are cool and you will learn something and be totally entertained. I loved them. I was hooked. I am so hooked on this YouTube channel now. It's insane.
Well, yeah, I mean, those videos, like, if somebody, you don't even have to remake them. Like, if they just re-release those and show them to kids who are interested in mechanics, like, just total great lessons to learn about the basics of how stuff works. I mean, the gears as lever type deal, and I mean acceleration. They were fantastic, and yeah, they spent real money to make those things. I mean, they had like a Hollywood production company make those movies.
I agree, and they're awesome, and I agree with you. They're timeless, no question. I gotta say, the next story I want to talk about is one that I know Brian is super passionate and excited about. And honestly, I was surprised didn't get more comments. I think people are just mesmerized with it. Was the Don Garlits picks his 6 favorite swamp rats. Tell us about that deal.
Yeah, that was awesome. You know, I got a list of ideas, obviously, for stories and stuff. So one of them was to have Garlits. You know, he had 37. There were 37 swamp rat dragsters. Yes, it stops at number 34, but there are a couple of them that were like 6A and 6B and stuff. So he's had a total of 37 swamp rats. And so I sent him an email. I asked him if he would pick his 5 favorites. And he wrote back. He said, "I won't pick my 5 favorites. I'm going to pick my 6." And basically, he laid out his 6 favorite swamp rat dragsters and kind of gave some quick comments as to why he chose them. And then I kind of expounded on his reasoning. But so he picked Swamp Rat number 1, which of course was the car that put him on the map. It was the one that he raced and ran 180 miles an hour with, and then all the guys in California said he was full of shit and there's no way. And so then he loaded it up and went to California, and he showed up at the March meet with the only dragster that didn't have a supercharger on it, and he probably got his ass kicked all over the place. He then took the car, like, that next day, after the race was over, he went straight to Iskandarian's shop to put a blower on it. He had 2 more races to run, and he won both of the 2 events, and then went back to Florida, kind of proved himself, and put him on the map. Then he picked Swamp Rat 6B, and 6B was a car that he had built and then sold to Art Malone, and Art Malone hated it and said he just didn't like it, and it wasn't running right, so Don took it back, and that was the car he went the first 200-mile-an-hour lap, the first recognized 200-mile-an-hour lap in NHRA history with it at Island Dragway in New Jersey, so he was very proud of that one. And then he picked 13, which I thought was interesting, because 13 is the car that exploded and basically chopped off his right foot, or the vast majority of his right foot. And he said he chose that one because it was the car that inspired him to lay in the hospital bed and come up with a better mousetrap and basically design. It wasn't the first rear-engine dragster, but it was the most successful design to that point, and it was the one that became the archetype design for everything that's come along today. He then picked number 22, which was a good pick from my perspective from history, because it was the car that won the first Winston-sponsored points championship in NHRA history, and it was also the car that ran this titanic lap in 1975. He went 569 at 250 miles an hour, and that was a speed record that stood for 7 years. That 250.69 mile an hour lap was the fastest run for 7 years, and there is not a drag racing record, I don't think ever, that has stood for 7 years without being broken in a conventional car. Now, I'm not talking about rockets or anything like that. So that was awesome. Swamp Rat 24 I thought was cool because in 1970, I think it was 74 and 75, he had that car, and he won $600,000 over the course of 2 years with it, which equates to more than $2 million today. And you will not find even a modern top fuel dragster that has won that much money over the course of 2 years. Even looking at modern NHRA payouts, you'd have to have a car that was incredibly dominant, and no one's, other than say Tony Schumacher a few years ago, nobody's had a car that was that dominant in like the modern age. That was a car that was going to be sponsored by the Navy, but they pulled the plug because he put a cross on it, and they weren't into the whole religious thing. And then the last one he picked was Swamp Rat 34, which was the very last Top Fuel dragster he had. Top Fuel dragsters to this point are not really stagnated, but the biggest kind of development has been the safety capsule that the Schumacher guys run. But the Swamp Rat 34 had all this cool stuff on it. It had a mono-strut rear wing, meaning it only had one big center strut.
Which is way cool.
Oh, yeah. Big, giant rudder back there. And also, amongst other things it did, the fuel of that car, instead of having a conventional fuel line that runs down the center of the car, the fuel actually flows through the frame rail. And the thought process of flowing the fuel through the frame rails was that you would be able to tell if there was any stress cracks or if the frame had any issues because you'd be able to see the fuel weeping out of the frame. And now if you sit there and go, well, that's really dangerous. Well, think about it for a second. If you crash a Top Fuel dragster and the frame breaks, guess what else breaks? The giant hose, sewer pipe fuel line that runs from the fuel tank.
Yeah, that is ultra-thin wall aluminum.
Right. So it is no more dangerous than having a normal fuel line, but NHRA was not too happy with the design, and they kind of grandfathered it and let him come back with it, and then they ended up kind of outlawing the car. But it really, if you want to get down to brass tacks, he says it's the most technologically advanced top fuel dragster ever, and you can make an argument that there are pieces on that car that are more advanced than what you're seeing on cars today. So really cool story. I asked him several more questions, that I did not include in that story, which I'm going to do a follow-up with, like stuff like with their car that you raced for too long, with their design that you really thought would work but sucked real bad. So I have another 5 questions that I asked them that I will put together another story for when I get back from vacation next week. But, you know, I always get a thrill talking to Don Garlits. He's a guy that...
Dude, he's Don Garlits. Come on.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, it's important to pester him with all these questions because, you know, no one knows how long he's going to be around for. Obviously, healthy guy, there's nothing wrong with him.
Oh, no. He can't hear a goddamn thing, but otherwise he's great.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely, and Anthony said he talked to Garlits once, not very friendly. Yeah, not, when you catch him, if you catch him when he's doing something, he's certainly not going to be the most friendly guy to talk to. If you catch him on a time where he's just kind of hanging out and not doing stuff, which isn't very often, he'll entertain you. I'm working on I'm campaigning with him to get EJ Potter considered for International Drag Racing Hall of Fame, which is the thing I'll write about when I get back. So that's my Don Garlits in a nutshell. I really liked that story. I thought that was cool.
Well, let me touch on one thing on the whole friendly deal. You know, you've arguably talked to him more than anybody in the media for a given short period of time. You know, I don't know why it is, but he fell in love with us here, and I mean, I asked him one time if he still got lumber from firing up a car, and he actually answered on camera, and at the time I wasn't certain he actually heard it, because he can't hear a damn thing, but later he watched the video and he loved it so much he asked for a copy of it that they have in the Drag Racing Hall of Fame. So they actually have our video playing there, and I was totally honored by that, and it's rad because it was at the National Hot Rod Reunion in Bowling Green, and it was during the Cackle Fest, and I walked right up to the to the car. He was the last guy down the track, and he climbs out of it, and I ask him the question, and he's laughing like a little girl, and like Brian said, he's a pretty serious guy, and I would say that he has a lot of personality, quote unquote, but he's not some boisterous, super, hey guy. He's a head down, let me design stuff and race things guy, but, you know, when I say he can't hear a damn thing, you literally have got to have your mouth by his ear, screaming at him for him to hear anything you say. He will not talk on the phone. He never talks on the phone with Brian because he can't. I mean, it's just annoying for him. So everything's email. Which is funny, and Brian has a funny story about the first time he tried to do an interview with him via email where the answers to Brian's questions were yes and no, which clearly didn't work, but they worked their way through that. So it's a good deal, so it's pretty cool. And I think, you know, I'm proud of the fact that we have that kind of relationship with Don Garlits, and shit, I don't have any relationship with him in comparison to Brian, and I think that's pretty awesome. So. And
just a quick note, too, is, Don Garlits didn't have Don Garlits was not the first guy to win a national event with a rear-engine dragster. It was a guy named Dwayne Ong who won an AHRA national event in 1970 in Long Island, New York. Well, I have tracked down Dwayne Ong, and I'm going to be interviewing him. We're going to do a story about his Woody Gilmore rear-engine dragster and called the Pawnbroker. We got a ton of cool photos, including one photo of Mr. Don Garlits climbing all over the thing, trying to learn about it. So it's going to be that'll be a great story. I think a lot of people will dig it.
Well, and one thing that's interesting about that, like you said, it's a Woody Gilmore car. You need to verify this with him, but I don't believe it was the first rear-engined Woody Gilmore car either. It was the first one to win a national event, but I believe there were a few of these actually built before, but he was the only one that was successful with it. Is that right?
I think you are right, and I will put that on my list of questions, and he'll know, so I'll ask him.
Oh, yeah. That will be good. I'm excited about that. That ought to be an interesting story to see, no question. Okay, moving along. I really dug the Garlits story. I think that one was good. Thank you. I read that one. You know, I don't always read all your junk with the intent of reading it as entertainment. I read all your stuff in the morning so I can correct your spelling mistakes, and which is scary because I can spell, but my punctuation is only that much better than yours. So, you know, that's always entertaining. Another funny thing this week was Brian put up a eBay find Kenny Bernstein's all-conquering 85 Ford Tempo body, And what I said was, I don't care if that thing did 700 miles an hour in a quarter of a mile, it's still a fucking Ford Tempo. Okay, so nobody gives a shit. It is the ugliest car in history. My grandparents had a diesel, no turbo, diesel of that car that they pulled around behind their Ford Travel motorhome. It sucks out loud, and it sucks even though Kenny Bernstein owned it. But my counter-strike to that was the Ron Capps 1997 Rookie of the Year NHRA Nitro Funny Car Body that is the 28 car, as I call it. And that was an interesting car because Bernstein's car won everything. I mean, there's no question. He couldn't have got a street race if his life depended on it because Armstrong was the dude of dudes at that point. And after the LeSabre Snuffleupagus car, this was like the mellow one, and they still owned everybody with it. But the counter-strike that I put up, Capps' car, is interesting because it affects his career today. He still runs the number 28, which was an homage to the Z28 Camaro, which is what that car was for his first year with Chevrolet, and I thought that was pretty neat. That car is local. I am waiting on a response from the owner of that car, actually. Shh. I have a couple of people that contacted me and said, who owns the car? I said, I don't know. They said, well, you acted like you knew. I said, I don't know. And they said, well, you said you could get it signed. I said, well, that's not because I know the owner of the car. It's because I know Ron Capps. So I contacted the owner of the car, and I'm waiting on a response because we know a couple of people actually that are interested in buying that car. One of the people that's interested in buying that car we actually were talking about earlier this evening, he wants to buy that car and he wants to cut it in half because he already owns a half of a Capps body hanging on his wall, which means you probably know who this is, who lives in Indiana, and he wants me to have the other half, and I'm all over that, but at the same time I'm a little bit disturbed by the cutting it in half part. So we'll see. We'll see.
You know who's got one of those.
Who?
But it was a...
Crosby's talking.
What was his name? Can't think of his name. But, what's his name from Strange had it in his office for years.
Really? Well, Tony has half of one.
Yeah, Tony has half of one.
Yeah, the one that blew up at Indy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, what's his name? He used to drive the bus for Strange.
I can't remember.
Anyway, had one in his office, cut, quartered, and it was in the corner of his office.
No way. Oh.
It was badass.
I would hang this on my patio. I'm telling you. No question. And Daphne would not argue with me on that.
I'd take that whole catalog and hang it up on the backside of the shop.
I know. I would just hang it upside down. I'd put lights in the windows and call it a chandelier, my friends.
That wall.
Yeah.
Hell, I got a whole nother shop back there.
That's true, and you don't pay for it. It's awesome.
Me and Brett got a shop
Yeah.
back there. Hang that fucker upside down.
Oh, there is. I gotta say too, the bank shift question of the day: biggest underdog engine. I find it entertaining that you put a nailhead in there as the first photo because you did that for me because you know I think that there is nothing underrated about a nailhead. I think that's the most overrated piece of shit GM ever created. I mean, I would rather have a 4-cylinder Iron Duke than that thing by a lot. Nah, they suck out loud. They look cool. They're cool paperweights. They don't make any power. They're boring. One of the rarest cars in history up for sale on eBay, CRC number 6. This is, CRC stands for Camaro Rolling Chassis. You'll remember in April they put them up for sale. It was a very short window. I believe it was 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that, wasn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it was definitely a short deal. We ran like an item before it happened, and we ran one while the sale was going on. And yeah, they only made 12 of them max. And when I talked to Jamie Meyer at GM and kind of asked him what the goals were, he said, minimum they were looking to sell 12. So. And I think they kind of just squeaked it over. So I think they probably just sold 12. Maybe they sold way less than 20, I'll tell you that. Yeah,
and this one's number 6. Our understanding through the rumor mill is that these things were going for around $55,000. This one's up for sale for $68,000. Do the math on this, folks. Yeah, it doesn't have an engine and trans in it. So, this is way rarer than a Copo Camaro. They make 69 Copos a year for the last 2 years. This thing is one of, okay, let's say 20 to be generous. I say 10. This is a rare find. It is a Copo Camaro without the engine and transmission in it. This is a pretty badass deal. At some point, your children are going to be hearing about this actual car. Guaranteed. Save this in your phone or something and show it to them, because in 25 years, this is going to be $1 million car. I'm just saying it is.
Yeah, depending on what happens to it, I agree. And in my mind, I see it being one of those things where, like, you know, they have that big muscle car reunion show or whatever, and in Chicago, whatever, the Yanko Supercar show, whatever it is, it's like, this is one of those things in 25 years that someone's going to, like, roll out of a trailer and like, oh my God, there it is. You know, I have the same feeling you do, that if somebody didn't receive it and immediately go to work putting the motor in it, it's never going to have a motor in it. It's just going to be what it is, and super rare. Super rare.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable how much money some of these people will spend on something like this in the future. There's no doubt in my mind. No question.
Hey, can you get a title on them?
No, you can't get a title on them. I thought about that. I was actually standing in the shower the other day going, how do I race this thing? And I actually thought I go to pick and pull and I pull the VIN tag out of some shipbox 6-cylinder and I call it a day and I run it on drag week and it's illegal and I don't care. But at the same time, then when you wad it up, the insurance guy goes, so.
You just admitted to wanting to do VIN tampering.
I did. I'm totally fine with that. It's a federal crime. I don't care. Which car has history most overglorified? And Brian asked this question today, and I have to say I'm so absolutely proud. While I am completely disappointed in you for putting up a Buick nailhead, I am completely proud of you for putting a Mopar in the most glorified deal. Because let's face it, any Mopar that costs 6 figures, even though my Mopar boy is here, Sean Calloway is right here. He's sitting right here. He's fuming. The steam is pouring out of his fucking ears right now. Okay.
John, they have drugs that fix that.
Yes, they do. Oh, he's pissed. Anyway, you and I both agree, though. There was a period of time where they added 2 zeros to the value of every Mopar because the economy was crazy, and it wouldn't have mattered if it was a Camaro or a Mopar. You know I wouldn't have thought that there was $1 million 69 Camaro convertible any more than $1 million, CUDA convertible. By the way, because Mopar was behind by 4 years on every design because they waited to copy Chevrolet. So a CUDA is just a Mopar's Camaro.
Hey, isn't that where Volvo came up with the crumple zones, though?
Oh. Now, you did have a 63 Corvette up here, and I thought that was funny, too, because the reason I say that is we all know that there are a lot of Corvette Goombas out there, and, the gold chain and Corvette deal and wearing driving gloves and all the foofy stuff.
Members-only jacket?
Yes, the members-only jacket. Dude, I had one, and you did, too. Don't argue. No, whatever. You are a lying sack of shit. You did. Yeah, we did. All the cool kids doing chicks dug them. It was all good. Anyway, the Mopar, I thought that was interesting, but the ones that everybody put on here, Tri-5s. Dude, Gary, I can't believe you even put that, but you're a Ford guy. Marcus put Mopars, all of them. Brandon Flannery, who is a diehard Mopar guy. Flannery is one of the Good Guys Gazette editors. He is hilarious. Flannery is unbelievably funny. And my phrase, if you can't win the dough, be the show, I stole from Brandon Flannery 100%. But he is a Mopar guy to the end. And he said the same thing. A Lamborghini Miura, which is uglier than hell but cool because it's a Lamborghini. Daytonas and Superbirds. And the Lamborghini Countach Grippo, I used to like you. None of your shit is running on the site anymore. Okay, I can't afford to not have you give us your photos, so never mind. Oh my God, Cobras? Yeah, dude, who likes them? They ran like crap. I remember being at dude, seriously, we're at a panel discussion at the NHRA Museum, and, what's his Julio? It's Parnelli Jones, it's It is with a Z, 108-year-old dude, but he only looks like he's Alex Exidius.
Yeah.
Oh, Exidius, yeah.
Alex Exidius and Parnelli Jones are talking about racing Cobras. And Parnelli is like, oh, yeah, those cars were great, and they handled awesome in 1968, and blah, 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 all this junk. And Exidius goes, dude, you are so full of shit. They were awesome because people were paying us to drive them, but they sucked. They didn't handle good. They didn't do anything right. And it was awesome to hear that come out of their mouths. Dude, everybody in the place was like, oh, my God. Good thing Carroll Shelby is dead, because otherwise he would have killed us all right now. It was awesome.
Parnelli can't even remember his real first name.
That's true. Parnelli, can't remember his real first name. What is his real first name? Rufus. That's right. He is Rufus Parnelli Jones, right?
Rufus Parnell.
Parnell. Ah, there you go. Wow. If I was Rufus, I would own that. I got to tell you.
Rufus and White.
Hell yeah. What's your name? Rufus. Right on, brother. Oh, it'd be awesome. Oh, it'd be great. Okay. Old Camaros. How did Tim put this up and I didn't erase the Camaro comment? I don't know how this works. Boss 429, dude. Herb put up Boss 429. I love them, but overrated. They were cars.
That's a trash truck with horsepower, right?
Yeah, there were cars they could beat, but they'd probably blow up before they did it twice. I have to say, I am not a Ford guy at all, but I have driven a Boss 429 Mustang. In fact, the one that Brett Vocal owns, and I drove it before he did when he bought it. And I will tell you, that car is a stupid car, but it's badass.
Yeah.
And Sharon said it best.
How many times has he driven that?
Oh, he's driven that car like maybe 15 times. But maybe.
I've never even seen it move.
Oh, I drove it first. But the best part was when he took it home and his wife Sharon got in it and they went for a ride and she turned and looked at him and went, we paid how much for this thing? Yeah, because it was a lot of money. So it's awesome. Buick Grand Nationals are cool. I don't like this. Anybody here who's arguing with us, from now on I'm erasing comments I don't like. That's what we're going to do. I just think that's... Oh, my God. Harold Goldbranson. Dude, can I buy a vowel? All muscle cars and so-called exotics are overrated. A Caprice from the 80s. He's ripping on Brian. A Polara from 1969 are better built and last longer than your frameless F-body. And the exotic supercars are outrun by four-door Cadillacs and BMW M5s. But coolness sells.
And 33 Ford Coupes.
Yeah, 33 Ford Coupes. Harold, dude, your Bankshift card officially revoked. I don't know who that guy is. He is not allowed to play here anymore.
Hey, you gotta reread the comment. He's saying that that stuff's cooler than the exotic cars. Is what he's saying.
I know.
He's a Norwegian guy. That guy rules.
Transporting illegal aliens or what?
Yeah. Oh my God. Trans Ams, can't really argue with you there. Dude, mid-70s Trans Ams are like the most anemic pieces of crap. They couldn't do a burnout to save their lives. Oh, but Garrett, he wins the final comment, dude. DeLorean.
Oh, shit.
Brian's all excited because Brian hates DeLoreans.
Yeah,
There is no worse car in the history of mankind to Brian Loans.
Motor in it.
I'm with you. And he nailed it. That was the perfect cherry on top of that whole commenting deal. He nailed it.
Oh my God, yeah, that was perfect. Perfectly awesome. Okay.
Obviously had to be on cocaine to come up with that idea.
Yeah. Oh wait, they shipped it in the cars. Damn, whatever.
That's right.
The Lamborghini guy taking flight in the car, that was pretty bitchin'. My eBay find, the Theocall Model 1300 Swamp Cat. You know you wanted it.
Yeah, that thing was totally rad.
And it's only 3 hours from your house, dude.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I know. You're a giant vagina because you're afraid of your wife. That's what it comes down to. The life-size Tonka truck. Brian still has not slept without a picture of this on his pillow since then.
See, to me, the best thing about that truck is that it was like the guy totally did it right. Like that could have been just a horrible disaster of an idea. But I mean, everything, dude. The cab with the weird shaped windows in it, the friggin' the tiller-style steering wheel that he's sitting next to. I
The
mean,
steering wheel is in the middle. He's
the
steering.
guy totally
It's a
did it
video.
right.
It's
Like,
awesome.
the only thing that would have made it better was if you actually could have towed a car with it, but I understand why he did it the way he did it, and I'm not criticizing the guy, but I just think, I mean, it's totally cool. The exhaust act to come up next to the cab, I mean, seriously, that thing was done right.
And the only reason it can't tow a car, let's do this right. Instead of a winch cable, it has rope. But here's why. Because the winch is a hand crank winch, just like on a real Tonka truck. So you got to give it to him that he went for authentic over usable in real life. The worst part on the truck in my world.
We're off there. We are off there.
Oh,
Now
what?
we're on again.
We're not.
What, the white spoke wheels?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Sorry. The worst part about this thing for me, and it's so nitpicky, is the wheels. And because the wheels don't look like the Tonka wheels, but the only way to get wheels that look like the Tonka wheels would be to have some machined, either an insert out of plastic or have a machine from billet aluminum or something, and that's being so picky that it's just not worth it. It's awesome.
Absolutely, man. The fact when they showed him in the cab steering the thing with the side center steering wheel, it blew me away that he went that far with it.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And one of the other things that blew me away, the Would You Drive It, a casket-bodied roadster a la Dragula, sorta. Now, this one, it's a real steel casket, okay, that was, a tube chassis, roadster car, front motor thing. It's well done, quote unquote, other than the motorcycle wheels on the front. But I don't know. The Dragula is one thing because you have the creepy monsters driving it and it has a bubble over it. But I don't know. Do you drive a car that's already a coffin? Like, aren't you going, hey, check me out. It's cool if I die because I'm already in the coffin? I don't know.
You're just waving your middle finger to death at that point. That's probably not the smartest move.
That's true. Yeah, but your motorcycle wheels were better than these.
Oh, okay.
No. Crosby's like, wait, I put motorcycle wheels on Gizmo, and I'm like, no. Those are like...
Oh, those are
See?
horrible.
Yes, thank you. Those are like off a Katana 600.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think the term we're looking for is gayer than a football bat.
I believe you are correct, sir. Oh, okay. After that, the Wolverine claws were pretty cool, but nowhere near as bitchin' as the 108.801 mile an hour Motorhome, bitches! Yeah! Dude, at El Mirage, 108.801 miles an hour!
What,
And note, note it's a GM product.
What did you say, Brian?
What's in that thing for a motor and stuff?
No idea. I don't have a clue. They are apparently trying to get it certified for a class. I believe, here would be my guess. I believe that they are
either a caddy motor or a 455 Olds.
They were 455 Olds powered is what was in them most of the time.
But there was a few of them that had 472s,
Yes.
512s or whatever.
Yeah. But they're front wheel drive, transaxle deal. You'll notice if you look at the picture closely, it's got double convoluted bags on each side of a rocker arm in the back. From the factory, they actually had a very interesting rolling sleeve bag, and I learned this recently from Brett Vocal because as the motorhome guy, I was looking into these because I wanted to buy one with a matching trailer. But anyway, they had a rolling sleeve bag that worked both directions.
Yeah. Well, they're actually working on one with that snap-on bag on them right now.
Oh, right.
For the guy down the street.
Yeah, it was a very weird setup, but you could put a double convoluted bag in there, one, or you could put two like they have with a fixed center. There's some different stuff because it's called a walking beam axle. That's basically what it is. If you know big rig stuff, which Brian does. Yeah, it would have looked like this bag, stock. This is just a bellow from Firestone, but Crosby has lots of these things around of all kinds of shapes and sizes. But it's a cool motorhome, fully caged, all that stuff. Checkout pass 108.801 miles an hour, which sounds not very fast, which makes me want to beat these guys But what's important is they're going to Bonneville, and I am going to walk up and hand them beer.
Nice.
The funny thing is they probably got a fridge in that thing to hold it.
That's true. Very good point, Crosby. Always eloquent. Excellent point. I must say, I am thrilled to death about the motorhome, for sure. Speaking of motorhomes, one of the funny things, too, from last week, and kind of creepy, the last vehicle Steve McQueen ever rode in alive in the United States of America. A 1952 Chevy pickup with a custom aluminum camper shell on the back of it that he bought from the guy that built it originally in 1952, which was kind of a crazy deal. It's one of those, auction things that's just odd, but cool somehow. And we'll get to more...
well, the ironic part is Von Dutch probably had his hands on it or was in it.
That's true. Von Dutch probably did touch that thing.
He took care of everything up until the point McQueen passed away.
Right, yeah, I don't know if everybody knows that, actually. I never thought of that until you just said that, but did you know that Von Dutch
was like his personal mechanic?
Yeah, he was like the personal mechanic for Steve McQueen. Did you know that?
The only reason I know that is because, like 2 years ago or something, I did a book review on a Steve McQueen car book, and they talked a lot about how Von Dutch was like his personal mechanic. So yeah, I did know that, but it wasn't something that I remembered until you just said it to me, but I had read that before.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, so that's kind of a tidbit of neat history. One of the blog items I put up this morning, the Bang Shift question of the day was, if money were no object, what old or new dream car would you buy? And that came because of all these auctions, which we'll talk about here in a second, but I put a picture of the 2012 Copo Camaro convertible, which was the number 69 car, which we saw at a special GM event, Chevrolet Performance event, the night before the SEMA show, and we're lucky enough to get invited to all of these big deals, and I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the fact that when Brian and I walk into an event with Jamie Meyer...
That would be it? That Copo Camaro?
No, I'm not saying that's it. That was just the picture I put up as an example. One of the things that Crosby's going, wait, really? That would be the car you choose? And not necessarily, but it's a good example. But anyway, we walk into these big stuffed shirt GM meetings and events and all this stuff, and Dr. Jamie Meyer, who's the grand poobah, so to speak, of GM Performance or Chevy Performance, super good friend of ours, great guy, and he always gets this look on his face like, oh, thank God Chad and Brian are here. I don't have to talk to any other douchebags from the media. I get to hang out with my boys and talk smack and swear again and make fun of people, and that's awesome. And so we appreciate that because Jamie is the dude of dudes. But in my question, again, it was if money was no object. The thought was, if somebody just gave you a suitcase of billion-dollar bills right now, and there was an auction going on right now with every car you ever dreamed of in your entire life, what would be the car right now that you bought? And that's a tougher question than you think, because my car list is like 400 long and includes shit like 64 Impala lowriders, Copo Camaros, old ones, 9560 and 9561 cars, and if you're going, Chad, what's a 9561 or a 9560 car? You are not a Copo fan, my friend, and you need to check that out. Think about it.
Top of the list.
Top of the list is what?
CTSV Cadillac.
Oh, see, now Crosby says CTSV Cadillac is on his list. I have to say, for me, the Cheese Whiz 55, Scott Sullivan's 55 Chevrolet, that's one of them on the list. It's got to be.
But the top of the list would be something you could drive every day.
Oh, no, I don't care. I'm a billionaire. I don't care if I can drive it every day.
You said the top.
I know the top. That's true.
Not the whole list.
The top of the list. Okay, I'm with you. See, and I think Dauberton's Nova, I think even the J2000, I hated that car, but I'd love to own it.
God,
yeah.
really?
I wouldn't put it on my list of my finals, but I know people that would. Dude, Dauberton's Nova, any Copo Camaro, all of those things, there are a billion of them that you could choose. And the thing is, people went so strange. Dude, Gary says a 68 Hemi Barracuda done by MCR. I mean, I can't argue. He knows exactly what he wants. Shelby Daytona Coupe, end of discussion. 23T altered drag car.
My pick would be I want the 64 Pontiac GTO that was used in the Car and Driver story where they actually raced it against the 64 Ferrari 250 GTO, even though they have never actually raced the two cars against one another. But the one that they gave the magazine had a totally worked up Ace Wilson prepared 421 in it, and it went 0 to 100 in 11.8 seconds on their timing equipment. And they published it in the magazine, and then they took the Pontiac bait, and it was one of the coolest GTOs of all time. That would be the one. If I had an unlimited amount of money, I would buy that car.
Well, and see, that's what I find interesting. Not a 64 GTO, that 64 GTO. And that's cool to me. And it's funny because now Crosby's going, 0 to 100 and 11 point whatever seconds. Yeah, but back then, dude, that was the balls on bias fly tires with red lines and stuff. I mean, you know, you got to think about it that way. I'm laughing because you look on this, dude, Johnny G picked a 65 Buick Riviera Grand Sport. Clearly, you never been in one. Dude, I wouldn't own a goddamn Riviera to save my life, dude, because I built one for one asshole in Texas, and I would never do that again. I am telling you what, they suck out loud. The best parts in a Buick Riviera are the ones that trade over to an Impala. Save the rest of it, dude. Brian's even out of here. See, I fired him because he thinks Rivieras are cool. He is wrong. Wrong. They're nailhead powered. They're all of that. It's a bad deal. Oh, I worked on one. Oh, Brian hasn't. Oh, no. Brian never worked on a Riviera, so he still thinks they're cool along with their nailheads.
Well, hold on a second.
He's back.
I never worked on one, but Dave Nutting wanted to buy one, and I went and looked at one with him about 4 months ago.
I know! And remember, I was on Craigslist going, dude, I can buy one for half the money in my neighborhood, and it'll be cheaper to ship it than the ship box he's trying to get.
And everything you got to work on back there, you got to use a flame wrench on.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, and like Crosby's saying, everyone you'd buy out there, you got to use a flame wrench on. For those of you not in the know, that's a torch. You don't want to have to do that. I mean, come on. I got one. What is a Bizzarini 5300?
Italian. It's an Italian coach-built deal. Kind of a coupe. I don't know. Looks like a mid-60s Ferrari almost, I believe.
I got to give Mikey some credit on this one. This one's a toughie. He says I would get a new Ford GT and have Ernie Elliott build me a bad-to-the-bone NASCAR high-wide in 351 Cleveland.
Obviously, you've never driven one before. They don't need it.
Oh. There you go.
Take that idea, but just apply it to a Pantera, and then we're in business.
No.
Obviously, you've never driven a Pantera.
I have not, but I want a Pantera.
Do not use air conditioning when hot.
Yeah. Hey, I want a Pantera, but I want a Pantera because I want to put a Chevrolet motor in it just to piss off the Pantera owners. Just like I want to own a Cobra at one point with a big block Chevrolet in it and go.
I have actually done that.
No.
I put a big block Chevy in one.
In a Pantera?
In a Pantera.
I love you even more than I did before today. Wow, Crosby put a big block Chevrolet in a Pantera. He is my hero.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of heroes, Steve Morris Racing Engines, dude, does the Holly-equipped twin-turbo LS deal. It's big power. It's not anything crazy, but it is seriously legit. 1,230 horse on 12, 13, 15 pounds, something like that. Not a big deal. On-pump gas, which is pretty cool. Neat little LS motor going into drag week car. Sean's over here nodding his approval. Very cool deal. What I love about Steve Morris is how honest he is on his dyno polls, because he goes through the graph after they make a run and he's like, oh, this is a bullshit number here. It had a little interference or something, because it really didn't make that. See how it jumped right there? No, it's really down here. Like every other dyno engine builder in the world's like, it made 14,000 horsepower because it said so right there. Yeah.
Weird spike in it, yeah.
No, Steve Morris is cool because he does not lie like that. So I give him major kudos on that, even though I don't agree with the fact that most of the time he runs centrifugal superchargers, which aren't my deal. Another bitchin' auction. Okay, you know the Albrecht auction, which is going on in September 27th and 8th in wherever the hell, Nebraska? Pierce, that's right. And I am so trying to get there. It is going to be badass, but here is another great one the same weekend, and it's in Brian's neck of the woods, sort of. It is in Pennsylvania, and this one, it was sent to us by Jesus Chewy Nava from MSD. Dude, Chewy sends me stuff every week, and it's totally entertaining. This one is badass. 41 Willies in the auction with a Chris Alston Chassis Works chassis underneath it. A bunch of cool hot rods. Numbers match Cutlass, Chevelles, Nova, Big Block 4-speed SS car that's a project car. A bunch of cool stuff going up on the auction block. That's going to be neat. It's in New Providence, Pennsylvania. How far away from you is that?
New Providence. Oof. I got to look right now, I'll tell you.
Oh, dude, this is the clearest you've been all night.
There'll be a bunch of black wagons out there, won't there?
Yeah, well, I believe that is an Amish country, I'll tell you right now.
Then I worship this dude even more for being the dude that lives in the land of the Amish with all the hot rods. Rock on, brother. Although, if you're Amish and you're watching us, please don't be offended.
It's totally an Amish country. It's down by Lancaster, so it's...
Oh, it's totally an Amish country. Okay, so the Amish are awesome because now they put like 22-inch rims on their carts being pulled by the horses. And, dude, they have stereo systems in these bastards that are unbelievable.
Yeah,
so, hey, we didn't put a small block in it, but we got a generator running on the back to run our stereo. Yeah.
Yeah, most of them have, like, working taillights and stuff just out of safety, but...
that's what it's about.
Would that be a hybrid?
Well, it's weird to say it, but, like, when you go to Amish country, it's
they're hybrids, dude! They're totally green!
There is some danger, though, because, like, when you're down there, you're going down these country roads, and you'll come up on a guy in a horse and buggy, and if you're not paying attention, you try to pass him up over a rise or something, you can get into a pretty good accident. So it's like you do have to pay some pretty good caution to those guys. But yeah,
we don't have that problem out here in the 909.
No, we're good with that. Here, if we see a horse and buggy rolling down the street, dude, we just honk. The horse moves. Hey, bitch, get over. It's all good. Okay, Snake and Mongoose movie trailer is out.
Yep.
Throbbing Blue Vayner, my friends. For more than one reason. One of the reasons, too, by the way, if you look at the credits in the movie, this guy, Bangshift.com, we are all in it, thank you very much, in the credits, because we provided them with footage and a place to shoot said footage from. High above the famed 1,320 feet of concrete at Famoso Raceway, so we are glad to have been a part of that, and wanted to be more of a part of it, but we're glad to do it, and we actually have some cool announcements coming shortly from those folks, so you're going to see a relationship with us and the Snake and Mongoose movie very, very, very soon. The funny thing I find about this is that Brian's the guy that's talking to all of them, and yet I am the guy that's here where all the premieres and stuff are happening. So I find that incredibly inefficient, but fun. So Brian's going to hook us up, so we'll go to the premiere, which will be quite nice. Now, we're going to the camper battle. This is Brian's deal. I got to tell you, this is funny. So last night, I'm sitting on the couch trying to get a little bit of a rest in before I have to write all my content for today. And Brian calls me. And it's like 8:30 my time, which means it's 11:30 his time.
What did he call you?
He called me an idiot. No, I'm just kidding. He called me on the phone. He says, hey, I want to do a camper battle tomorrow. I said, what? He says, yeah, I want to do a camper battle. I have this cool camper I want you to do. And I said, okay, is it the 6x6 camper I sent you? He says, no, because you guys know I'm the camper guy, right? So Brian says, no, it's not the 6x6 you sent me. It's something else. It's based on a Blazer or a Suburban. Well, I try and respond to him that I know what he's talking about, but he's having no part of it, so he hangs up.
Why does that gay thing have 4 taillights on it?
I don't know. That's the part I never liked about these. But anyway, I am laughing because I know that if it's Blazer-based or Suburban-based, it means it's either a Chevy Blazer Chalet or a Jimmy Casa Grande. Yes, which is way better. So, I know this because I'm the old motorhome guy. So I'm laughing because I go, well, he's clearly taken the 4-wheel drive route. So that means I'm going to use the 6x6 I sent to him to own his ass. So if he's going to go off-road...
Got kind of the gay stripes on the side of it.
I know, but it's 70s.
Kind of looks like a Band-Aid with a rainbow sticker on it.
It does a little bit look like a Band-Aid, I must say.
Hey, nobody knows gay like Crosby knows gay.
Oh, exactly.
Hey, you know you love me. You know what? You want to come down this way.
I have to say, the best thing about that, I mean, they're incredibly rare.
You're not going to intimidate me.
John Baker from Chips would drive.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Totally. And you're right. It's totally a chip mobile. It's badass.
You got the right wheels on.
I know, the Vectors.
So
no, those aren't Vectors. Those are turbines.
In my blog item, I said David Hasselhoff would be driving, and then he'd pull up, and Ponch and John would jump out of the back.
Yes. Well, and I have to love it because Greg Rourke actually writes, I have been in one of these rolling pump tents when they were new. It sleeps zero comfortably, midgets maybe. Oh yeah, and I know.
Fit in it.
I know, you're good. And then Matt Graves writes, it's like the fall guy goes camping. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. And then Gonkalator says, while the camper is full 70s, goodness, it's still just a Chevy pickup with a camper on the back. Yeah. Now the 6x6 truck that is all shades of awesome and appears to be home built, which gets major credit in my vote. So my vote goes with Chad's 6x6 because it's awesome, home built, and would roll over that Chevy like a big rig does a Miata. Oh yeah. And
yeah, but the problem is he could actually. If both
Big Jim writes dual taillights. You didn't mention the dual taillights. Yes, we did, Big Jim. We did mention the big taillights.
Okay, if both of you went to Yosemite, the tree huggers would attack you and probably give him a hug.
In comparison, which is funny because if he showed up on his own, he'd die.
Yeah.
But if I showed up instead, they'd be like, dude, we're going after the big one. Oh yeah, it'd be great. The cool part is I'd run over all those sons of bitches. Wouldn't care. Yeah, bring out the picket line, boys and girls. It's on. Oh yeah,
we had to open up a new vein to get this thing down the road.
Oh yeah, because this one's mine.
God.
Did you buy that thing?
No, I didn't buy it. Are you kidding? I can't afford that.
You can't afford
I can't afford gas in the Suburban.
Wait a second. I thought you were talking about the one that you looked at today.
Oh no. I will be writing a blog item on that one, but I
was confused.
I did not buy a motorhome today, even though I wanted to.
Okay.
But it wasn't quite good enough.
I hope to God he doesn't. I don't have enough time to work on it.
Whatever. So yes you do.
No, I don't.
I've seen you.
Bit in it.
What?
I got bit in it.
Yeah, Daphne got bit by something in it. It was awesome. It's perfect,
God.
dude.
Is it Chad?
No, it wasn't me. I swear, I didn't do it. But mine is a badass, and yeah, it totally owned it. So check mine out. It has a flat screen TV. It has leather seats. It's an M35 military vehicle, so it's
got a
bitchin'.
green dash.
Yeah, because it's a military vehicle, dude. It's M35. It's a badass. Dude, and it has a 2.5-ton trailer for the back. Bring it on.
That means it's got a max speed of 45 miles an hour at
68 bitches, because it's got overdrive gears in the axles. Yeah!
Yeah, 6,000 RPM.
I don't care. You can't get in trouble in it. It's great. And what are you going to do, dude? The cop pulls you over. I'm going to roll over his ass. There will be no evidence. Okay, Guitar Slinger says, bah humbug. You're all full of it, whatever it is. Y'all are picking nothing but oversized, overweight, gas-sucking road hogs that can't barely get out of their own way. The best, and by far the coolest camper ever, is a 69 VW Westfalia microbus. You don't need all that weight, junk, etc. to be a happy camper. Guitar Slinger, yeah, you are a hippie, dirty hippie, I don't shave or wash my pits, bastard. Go away, nobody likes you. No, I love you because you've been around forever. But still, I'm going to rip on you.
How many tie-dye t-shirts do you own?
None is the answer.
No, him.
I know, because there's only one color of t-shirt. It's this one. Guitar Slinger, you forgot one upgrade to that Westfalia. A Subaru 2-liter turbo flat 6 for power. That would make it cool. Unless it's a
No,
21 window, I don't care about a Volkswagen
you
bus.
missed the other obvious option.
What?
A camping fuel tank and a flare.
Oh, good point. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm with you on that. Doc says, cage the doors and windows, and the survivalist crowd will be going insane for that rig. Put a plow in front of it, and you can plow through the zombies in style.
Air conditioning comfort.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, there's no air conditioning.
Totally all over it. There is in the camper part, just not in the cabin.
That's why.
But vintage air, dude, they can fix that.
Oh, God.
It'll be great.
Hey, Rick Love, you got
You got a vintage air for an M35? Because I got one. Dude, he's all over it. It's fine. Oh, my God. We are so over on time, dude.
We didn't touch on the shock deal, though.
Oh! Okay, we're going to talk about this very quickly. I don't know if all of you guys heard this or not. But at Columbus Good Guys, some jackhole...
Hold on.
Oh, wait.
Just there.
Hold on.
It wasn't just there.
No, I know. I'm with you. Hold on. So, at Columbus Good Guys, there was a big controversy because some jackhole douchebag idiot went and turned all of the shocks screwy on a bunch of Ride Tech equipped cars. Not all of them Ride Tech company cars, some of them private cars that were sponsored, etc., etc. Now, the funny thing about this is, I say funny because it's making fun of Crosby, is that this actually happened at another event earlier in the year, and everybody just thought that Crosby was insane.
Oh, crap.
Yes. And or overreacting. However, then...
When it happened to them, they weren't real happy about it.
Which was awesome. So, yeah, somebody jacked with a bunch of cars. Brian and I had a big conversation about this earlier this week. The thing that struck us about it more than anything was not only that somebody would be this kind of cheater or bastard or whatever, but...
It's a safety issue of it.
That's it. It's what would this guy do...
If somebody takes a 600 horsepower vehicle and crashes through a couple of K-rails and takes out our crowds, we have no more venues to go to. Period.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. It is safety, and you are screwing with shit you do not have a grasp on what you are doing. This is bullshit.
Well, and one of the interesting things about this, and Brian and I talked about this a little bit, but I had a conversation with Brett Vocal about Ride Tech about this, was that you look at this from a competition standpoint, okay, and how all of this worked.
We go home in one piece. Everything is
right. Whether you win or you lose, as long as everybody's safe,
yep.
all things are good. But when you look at this, Kyle Tucker is the guy who won. Kyle Tucker, owner of Detroit Speed, him and Stacy, great people, super nice, very competitive, but no cheaters. No question. Never a cheater.
Not on a bet.
No. They look really bad in this scenario because they're the ones that won. Kyle Tucker won this event. And so the natural deal is to say, well, Detroit Speed's a competitor of Ride Tech, and so they must have sabotaged the cars.
Bullshit.
And as Brett Vocal said, no way, that did not happen. No way he believes that. But Kyle Tucker has talked to Brett about this afterwards, and he says, God, I feel really bad, and it makes me feel like I need to defend myself. And Brett made a special point of saying, no, this was not a Kyle Tucker thing, or that he had no belief that it was. And there's no way anybody that knows Kyle and Stacy would believe that anyway. But
I've hung out with them a lot.
A lot.
And everybody that works for them,
yes,
there is no way possible that they had anything to do with this crap. Because they're not people like that. They're competitors, and they are competitive of the most sort. But when it comes down to, they want to beat you
fair and square.
Right. They want to beat you car to car. They do not want to beat you by cheating anything else. That's not their thing.
No, and it's interesting because Brian and I talked about it from a different perspective, from multiple kinds of racing. And it's funny because if somebody did this to a drag car, did something that made a drag car ill-handling, the truth of the matter is, for the most part, you have 2 walls, 2 drivers, and they are the people that are most in danger. Whereas at an autocross event like this, you're endangering the crowd and all of these stuff. And what I said was...
Not only that, you're endangering the entire sport in and of itself.
I agree. Well, and what we said, or what I said was, I wondered if somebody did this, what else will they do? I mean, how much more does it take for them to pound a brake line flat, or to puncture a fuel line, or to do... You know, what I said to Brett Vocal, and I know this is going to sound extreme, but this is the 13-year-old kid who's killing cats. And at 21, he's killed the 13-year-old girl down the street. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
He was a quiet kid, kept pretty much to himself.
Loves his video games.
Exactly. But I don't think they'll ever find out who did this, but hopefully the attention that has come to it in coming weeks. If you want to read more about it, go to protouring.com. You'll find it, and you'll be able to see what's going on. But it's a cool deal.
And the nicest way I can put this, if I catch you touching one of my cars, I will slam your fingers in the hood.
Yeah, that would be the nice version of it. Because he knows mean people. And he's not the mean one, which is scary, or should scare you. Okay, we are way over time. But we've had a really good show, don't you think, Brian?
I think we've covered a lot of ground. Yeah, I think we've had a good one, man. Yeah, about an hour and 40 minutes worth, and I think that's about it.
Is Bob asleep already in the motorhome?
No, this is a bachelor pad. My parents are not here. Dad is not racing. He's bringing up his new car to get the chassis cert done on Saturday morning. But
wait. So they gave you the motorhome to drive up there?
No. It's parked at the track. Like they keep it up here at the racetrack during the season.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Ah, dude, so you're all pimptacular.
You bet.
So right now there's actually a party going on outside that you don't want us to know about, is that right?
Yes.
Have fun, Brian.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I appreciate it very much. Sorry we took you too late because it's now like 10:30 for you. I am Chad Reynolds. That guy over there, Big Bad Brian Loans, Crosby, Jay, Sean, Daphne, Peyton. We are all here having a good time in Southern California and Massachusetts, respectively. And we appreciate you guys tuning in here for another episode of Power Shift. This one went long, but you know we never plan anything, so... Well, we do, but then we go off the rails, and it's just all screwed up. So, thank you for tuning in.
Are you going to do it solo next week, or what?
I am. I'm going to be doing the show solo next week. Well, I say that. I haven't even talked to Brian about this, but Monday, this is interesting. Monday, I am doing a demo with a new company that wants us to do Power Shift Live on their new network.
Is it, what is the name of this thing?
Spreecast.
Yes, I got an email on that too, so I'm glad you're going to try it out.
Oh, yes. I've been talking to them for the last week, talked to Marco over there. We're going to do a demo on Monday. The neat thing about this is apparently the way the software works that's internal to their program, it allows chat and all those things still, but allows us to have 4 people at one time talking for the show without as much software stuff going on. So it may be a cool option for PowerShift. Not a deal for our live racing broadcasts, obviously, but for PowerShift it could be cool. So we're going to do a demo on Monday and then do some tests throughout the week. If everything seems right, we may try it out for next week. If everything looks good on Tuesday, I'm going to start pulling in some people, so we may have some cool guests for next Thursday, because Brian will be out in the middle of the big blue ocean.
I will be plastered. More specifically, I will be completely plastered.
That's exactly it. After tucking the kids in for the night on the cruise, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Did you are bringing your harness, right, so you can clip into the railing of the boat so you don't fall overboard, right?
I do. I have one of those. I'm going to wear one of those airline life vests you get that you pull the string and it inflates. I'm just going to constantly have one of those in case I do fall overboard. I can just yank the string on the way down and save myself from certain doom.
That's awesome. Now, okay, wait, check this out. So Peyton is trying to stand on a pole on the edge of Crosby's shop. This could go so terribly wrong. Oh, there she goes.
Let her go.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, we're laughing, having way too much fun. By the way, I I am 60 some odd ounces of Diet Cola and a lot of Jim Beam in. Daphne will be driving home. It is all in, all done for this episode of Power Shift. So, adios, Jack.
Latest.
That was good.
Sweet.
Alright. Have a lovely evening. Glad you got to see me. Are you doing tomorrow's content? Or am I?
Tomorrow we're good.
Awesome. So I'm handling Sunday?
Oh, tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday. Sorry, I meant Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I'll write stuff for Saturday, yeah.
Okay, you do Saturday, I'll do Sunday.
Okay.
And then you said you're going to jam a few things in for... Oh, hey everybody, check us out. You're